Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Solo Inter podcast. And to immediately get to things, I'm joined with Gautam to, of course, review the 2-2 draw with Sampdoria on a Sunday afternoon in India, at least, or evening, I should say, after the conclusion of the match. So, Gautam, yeah, here we are. We couldn't do a Sampdoria preview. Of course, we were a bit caught up, but personally, just to give my initial few thoughts, I thought personally that this is a match where we wouldn't win because of many factors. It being the kickoff time, lunchtime in Italy, South American players arriving very late. Inzaghi just spoke in his conference. Because of the time difference, you had players awake at 4 a.m. over there. South American players in his
Hmm.
press conference, he just mentioned that. So, Gautam, what do you think? Do you think it was a disappointing performance considering that in our title winning season last season we did lose here? I mean, but or do you think it was a lot of factors that affected us and it's all right to get a point from this game?
I would not say I wouldn't put the excuse on the timing or that
Hmm.
South American players didn't have rest and all that because this wasn't a draw which couldn't have been avoided. This is a draw
Hmm.
which was a result of our finishing. We were not clinical enough as we have not been clinical enough in the previous seasons. I mean,
Hmm.
three golden chances in 5 minutes. If you cannot
Yeah.
finish that, then you
Yeah.
can't expect to win. I mean, this
Yeah.
was going to be a physical game. It was going to be a tough game. When
Yeah.
all these
Definitely.
factors were already there, when you consider all these
Hmm.
factors, when you have
Yeah.
chances, you need to put them away.
Yeah.
Especially the Perisic one, wherein like I don't know, he was 50-50 in his mind. I don't know if it was a
Yeah.
cross, whether it's a shot, it didn't work out.
Hmm.
Chalanoglu should
Correct.
have done better.
Definitely.
Lautaro's one, I would say it's 50-50. I don't know whether the cross was too high. I don't know if he could have played for a penalty. Not sure
Hmm.
what he could have done, but okay, fine. But the other two chances should have been done. And
Hmm.
even the first goal which Sampdoria scored, I
Yeah.
would put the complete blame on Handanovic. Not
Wow.
for not I mean not for the deflection.
Yeah.
Deflections happen, but when the ball was lobbed in, he's rooted to his
Hmm.
spot. He should have come out and
Yeah.
he
Yeah.
should have collected it, or at
Hmm.
least punched the ball away. The referees will give advantage to the keeper if he has
Hmm.
contact.
Hmm.
He should have
Hmm.
just gone there and taken that thing.
Yeah, and I think that's a complaint with Samir that he doesn't often come off his line to punch the ball or parry it. And you could, yeah, I mean in that sense one can make an argument that Samir should have probably come out because yeah, referees are overprotective
Hmm.
about goalkeepers. And also the thing that I felt that on the first goal, the clearance wasn't that great. The first headed clearance, which then fell to of course this one Yoshida to score. It
Yeah.
wasn't a good header, and also noticed that we lost a lot of aerial duels, like something which we were good at last season. First two aerial balls,
Hmm.
something which I've been worried about since match day one in Serie A versus Genoa. That we tend to lose a lot of individual duels, be it aerial or ground duels. I think this is where I don't question Inzaghi's approach. I think this is what Conte always said in his last season, that it's all about finding the right balance. That
Yeah.
at times you cannot let players be over expressive even if they want to be. Like it's all good to let them have their freedom, but it needs to be curbed after a point because it tends to leave gaping holes. Like even in the first 2-3 minutes, Thorsby should have scored the goal header.
Yeah.
Devray Skriniar, and I mean I don't expect Di Marco to jump that high because he's not that tall, but
Hmm.
Devre or Skriniar should be marking Thorsby better. They just left him, and this is what I feel that so far in the first three games, and I'm not jumping to any conclusions because last season also we had loads of defensive errors in our
Hmm.
game, and that's how we ironed them out. But this is where Conte's philosophy comes in of being more compact together in defense and being, cutting those gaping holes. Because a
Yeah.
lot of driven crosses also found their way. I mean, Caputo also had a golden chance to score from the
Yeah.
outside of his boot. He
Hmm.
completely fluffed it. And then after that, D'Ambrosio made a goal line clearance. I mean, he's always there to save us. So, it was a worrying game. And yeah, I mean, as you said, I agree that we should have buried those chances. Hakan definitely should be scoring. So much space to score.
Yeah.
That's his traditional shot. That's his trademark shot which he takes. If he could score that goal versus Genoa, he should be scoring that from a closer range
And
versus Sampdoria.
Yeah, and
Yeah, sorry.
when we are doing the player tier rating, we
Yeah.
especially said that he needs to be consistent this season to give him
Consistent.
like
Exactly.
and
Exactly.
this is not the type of shot which he's not familiar with. This is his trademark shot which he has to
Trademark.
score.
Exactly. And he did well for the Lautaro goal where he
Yeah.
brushed off Thorsby.
Hmm.
some may say it would be a foul or something, but I feel Thorsby is a physical enough player to, actually resist that kind of a foul. And he didn't complain. No Sampdoria player really complained. So I think that was a good tackle. And, the goal was good. Barela's assist was top notch. Also, a shout out to Dzeko before we jump into ratings. That movement for that goal, he drew Yoshida out with his arm gesture, and, that left Lautaro free for the goal. So I think Dzeko was good. And I think Dzeko overall was marked out of the game. Like, it's not easy for him. Sampdoria have these physical defenders like Oli, Yoshida. It's not really easy to play against them. They also sit compact. So I think Sampdoria on their end, when it came to defending last ditch, they did a good job. But in midfield and attacking, the gap was a lot for us to exploit, but we just couldn't make the most of it, as we pointed out. So Gautam, let's jump into player ratings quickly. I think we highlighted how the game went. Sam sat back.
The thing here, what we missed today was Bastoni. We missed a proper three-man defense, and I wouldn't blame the Barella as well for the second goal, wherein he let Aguero free. He lost him, but that's fine, because if he had the proper three of Bastoni, Skriniar, and De Vrij, then if we consider 2 goals, it would have been a problem. But I
think that's where I think Barella. See, he is a top class midfielder, but that's where I feel he needs to grow his game. That he needs to. I feel personally that when you're reading the game, when you're marking players, you need to always look back and see the movement of the players, which is what a lot of players do, Gautam. And Barella, I know he was focusing on the action and the ball, but that's where you are more complete. You observe the ball, but you also quickly look at players behind you. That's where I feel he should have definitely seen. That's where I differ with, in your opinion, is where I feel, I know Darmian could have also gone for him, but then it was too late. Ojela had already taken the volley by then. And
for me, his goal and Lautaro's goal was so similar in the way the finish. So I wouldn't blame Barella at all for this. But, but I still blame the 3 missed chances, which we should have
definitely. Definitely. And Correa did add spark after coming on. Like, he tried his best. But Odero made one of these occasional top saves, and it is what it is. I mean, Sampdoria, to correct myself, didn't entirely sit back. But what I mean to say is the defense, when needed, was really solid especially in last ditch tackles. Going forward, they did offer us a lot of trouble, especially Candreva was good, going forward and cutting in. Damsgaard was okay. Thorsby, Adrian Silva were okay. Adrian Silva made that one crucial block wherein Lautaro could have scored, I feel. But I mean, but to our credit, we did exploit the gaping holes in the midfield and defense. But we just, as you said, we just couldn't finish our chances, and then that's where you have to look back. Scoring chances has been a problem since last season, and we need to really improve on that. And I would blame Lautaro this time, because he's taking all his chances he gets. He's actually started scoring. Last season he would have fluffed that volley as well, probably.
Exactly,
but he's taking the lead, so there's no reason to blame Lautaro. Maybe we needed a Roberto Gagliardini substitution, because he always scores versus Sampdoria and we win the game. So maybe he should have looked back at that. But I mean, banter aside, let's get to the ratings, Gautam. Of course, first we have to start with you, and I'll start with Samir Handanovic. What do you rate him for today?
I'd give him a 0.
Wow. Okay.
I mean, he had no tops. He had nothing to do. I blame him, like, he didn't command his area well. The only time he came off the line was in the 96th minute for no reason. When he shouldn't have come out, he came out. When he had to come out, he didn't come out. So I'm not blaming him for the deflection goal or for the second goal, where he's good. I mean, it was hit hard, and that's the thing. But the first goal, if he had come out and commanded his area, it wouldn't have been a goal at all. It wouldn't have come to for the player to the shot. So I'd give him a 0.
0. Okay. And while I feel the rating is a bit too harsh, like, I mean, I wouldn't give more than a 5 if I had to. But then what I do agree,
but he hasn't done anything in the match to be given a 5.
Definitely. Yeah, I agree. Like, he didn't do anything spectacular in the match or even notable moments. But I also feel that, as you said, he is not good coming. Like, he doesn't know when to come off his line, or he's just never been that good at it, because he doesn't do it that often, and he needs to. Because when he did come off the line, he started asking for a foul, and maybe it was a foul. Orsato is Orsato. That is a different thing. But Handanovic was confused on many occasions nonetheless. Even that one cross put in by Candreva, he could have just collected it. He just decided to dive and parry it for some reason. I thought the ball went in. I thought that was 3-2.
I thought it went
I was
in.
like, yeah, I thought it went in because I was like, what are you doing? Like, why can't you just catch it? Any normal goalkeeper, even Radu, I complain about Radu's arm strength, but he would have caught it. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure even Kordads would have caught that. So I don't know what he was doing. So I mean, quickly, if I had to give Handanovic a rating, like I'd probably give him a 2 or a 3 just for the sake of it because I just don't want to give him a 0. But I know it was a terrible performance by him. Coming to I'll rate Skriniar, Gautam. This is what, as I said before, like individually when they take on too much, I feel they make a lot of errors. Whereas for me, Skriniar didn't make a lot of notable errors that way. But it's those moments where the team gets drawn way too much towards the action, which is the ball. Like Skriniar, De Vrij, they just go towards the ball. Like I feel that at least one centre back and even one midfielder in that sense has to look out for the space behind them. And that's the thing with me. It's the overall defense. And I think Skriniar could have had a few better moments in general. I feel, maybe he could have been a bit more calm, take the lead in that sense. He was okay. He wasn't bad. He wasn't that great, I would say. I would have to give him a standard 6, I feel, because I don't think anything notable was there for him in terms of being bad or good that way. Like, I think if I had to pick out of the best 3 defenders, not him, but he was definitely like second or something, at least for me. It's hard to say, defensively at least. And yeah, that's Skriniar for me, Gautam. Like, he was decent, nothing stand out positively or negatively. Coming to De Vrij, what do you think, Gautam? Like, I think defensively. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I would give him a 6 as well. I would lean towards a 5, but I think 6 would be a better. It would be a fairer. I think 5 would be too harsh, so I think 6 would be fair.
Too harsh.
But like you said, I think because of Bastoni's absence,
they suffered.
They suffered, and I think they individually wanted to take too much responsibility instead of giving more responsibility to either Dimarco or Darmian or whoever it is. They took it on themselves to be, with the lack of communication, decided to be the backline leader individually.
Correct.
And they got drawn, both of them got drawn to the action.
Exactly. And that is not to say that Dimarco was bad defensively. That's not what we mean. I get what we mean is, as Gautam said, is that at time when your main backline isn't there, I think, as Gautam said rightly, is that Skriniar and De Vrij rightly feel that there is more responsibility that needs to be taken. And they feel that they can at times handle it, which they are top class defenders. But when you account for all the factors that play into such a match, early kickoff, lack of match sharpness, everything, and playing at a stadium like Marassi versus physical players, extremely physical players, it's not easy, right? It's not easy. And then you have Caputo Quagliarella, who like Caputo didn't have a lot of, worrying moments for the defense, but you still have the fear or awareness in the back of the head that these guys can score out of nowhere while being because they are very experienced after all. So yeah, that's why I understand your rating, Gautam. 6 for De Vrij, 6 for Skriniar. It's become a package deal of sorts. But I'll come to Federico Dimarco. What a free kick, Gautam. Top left corner, amazing free kick. Like, we've always yearned for free kick takers in this squad. We got Eriksen. We have more than before, but both of us have always rated Dimarco's ball playing ability. It's fantastic. Be it early crosses, normal through balls. And I would have to give him, just for that free kick, I would have to give him a 7.5, man, because amazing. Just out of nowhere, and especially the fact that Inter usually don't really score much from set pieces is something we have started doing that this season early on. That was amazing. Defensively, I think Gautam, he was sound. People question his ability defensively, at times in 1v1s. I think he was okay. He was decent. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, but his free kick, I think, will be the free kick of the season. The pinpoint precision, I don't see anyone else scoring a better free kick than this. But defensively, I would say, he is half responsible for the first goal, wherein his cross was intercepted. He hit it across field and it got intercepted. I don't think that was the right choice to be done, but he is young. It's fine. I won't blame him completely.
That's fine. Exactly. Exactly. Like, I agree. He's young, and switch off play, something defenders try a lot to quickly catch their off guard, opposition off guard, because then it's harder for the opposition to restructure themselves. So you could get the idea in terms of what he is trying. So basically, I think he needs to, of course, add that composure to his game as well. But I think he wasn't like, because many people fear that DiMarco could make a lot more errors defensively at times, because at Hellas he did as a left center back especially. But again, he's at Inter now. He's surrounded by better players, and I think he was sound overall in that sense. So I have to give him a 7.5 overall that way. So Gotham, coming to and a fantastic free kick. Just to say that, like, just I didn't think that he would score from there. Like, hey, no keeper is saving that. No keeper is saving that free kick out of nowhere. So well done to DiMarco. Coming to Perisic next, Gotham. I want to ask you about Perisic. What do you make of his performance?
Perisic, I would give him 5, I guess. I don't think his work rate was there, but you have to, for an experienced person, for an experienced guy, the chance which he missed is unforgivable. Like, you know the situation the match is in. You know how crucial the next goal is going to be. And you see a guy like Perisic having the ball in that situation. You expect him, okay, if he's not scoring, he's at least crossing it to Dzeko cleanly.
Correct.
He didn't do either. I mean, so apart from that, I think his performance was nothing outstanding. So I'd give him a standard 5.
Yeah, standard 5. And also the thing is, we've gotten to a point where I feel Perisic needs to take more responsibility going forward. I know he is a workhorse. I know he thinks in the back of his mind he's not a natural left wing, so he needs to focus on defending first and cover the gap. I get it, but Perisic is a veteran now, and he can definitely take it to players. I mean, it's not that he can't. He can if he does try. So, and he did get pinned back. I won't blame him that he didn't entirely, but he can do definitely better.
I mean,
his crosses can be better.
Yeah, we have seen his assist for Croatia when he played last week.
Yeah, exactly. And just to put emphasis on take-ons, Gotham, he was up against Candreva. And yes, Candreva has improved since post Conte and all, but Perisic knows Candreva too, and vice versa, of course. So you can definitely, target his weaknesses as well. So, these are things you need to look at, and Perisic definitely needs to show more confidence going forward. I agree. And yeah, I agree with your rating. I can't disagree there. It's unfortunate, but it is what it is. Yeah. Coming to Matteo Darmian, I think since we rated Perisic a 5, I think he was slightly better than Perisic. Maybe you could argue that, he should have positioned himself better on Ogello's volley. But what Darmian offers is consistency, and I saw that in the last 2 games, and I saw some similarities in this one, Gotham. I think defensively, again, overall, he was pretty solid. Like, his passes were decent. He kept Damsgaard at bay. I think he did very well versus Mikkel Damsgaard one-on-one. So I have to give him that. And he is Darmian. He's a decent player, and that's what he does best. And, he was a workhorse. We all know that Dumfries needs time to adapt, and I think Darmian did okay. So in that sense, I would give Darmian a 5.5, because we've given Skriniar and De Vrij a 6, and I think they were a tad bit better in that sense in terms of commanding the center back line, although, there were individual errors. But yeah, I would give Darmian a 5.5 overall. I think, again, as usual, he was decent, and he, again, like, going forward, he is decent at best. He can't offer much more as well. So
exactly.
I think it's a standard 5.
There were occasions wherein, like, when Skriniar passed the ball front, if it was Hakimi, we would have had 2 goal scoring opportunities because of Hakimi's pace. Yeah, Darmian doesn't have Hakimi's pace. He tried his best, but he's not.
Exactly, he did try. Yeah, he did try, and he did try versus Ogello 1v1. Like, he did try to beat Ogello on a couple of occasions. But it's just the lack of speed. I mean, Darmian has the resistance to push him back, but it's just the speed, and it's all right. So I gave him a 5.5. Let's come to Nicolo Barella, Gotham. Just before you give him a rating, I have a stat for Barella, because, man, that assist was fantastic, Gotham. Like, what a beautiful assist. And, like, it was so well timed, because at times players tend to fluff that. And just to give the stat, Nicolo Barella is the first Inter player to provide an assist in each of his first 3 Serie A games in a single season since 04-05. And of course, we know he's great. He has a lot to develop. We saw, maybe, as you said, you felt, the volley was all right if he, he let Ogello drift away. But what's your rating for him in terms of the overall game? What do you think? How good was he?
I would give him a 7, basically, for his work rate. The assist, like how he beat the 2 players, made them look like fools and just went past them, and even the cross which he gave Lautaro, like you said, it's easily it can be overshot. So
exactly,
and he was so calm. There was Dzeko an option, and there was Lautaro as well.
Yep. Yep.
He made
Yep.
sure that he took the right call and gave it to
Right
Lautaro,
one.
and Lautaro finished it. So I
Correct.
would say
Correct.
overall it would be 7 or 7.5. I would shift to 7.5 mainly because his work rate, and regardless of his size,
Hmm.
he's in there.
Hmm.
He's a scrapper. He will do it.
7 and also he was heavily marked. I would say that Adrian Silva and Thorsby didn't have the best of games. But
Yeah.
this is the one thing with Sam. They're very good at maintaining their compactness, be it under Ranieri or Davarsa this season. That's what gave Brozovic an early, Brozovic was forced into an early yellow because they just couldn't beat them individually. Then Barella, he was kept at bay. So he did fine. Like Barella did fine.
Yeah, and
And yeah, I mean,
Barella was scrapping with Colley, and the height
Oli,
difference, and he doesn't
yeah,
shy away. So I would
shy
say
away.
7.5 to Barella.
Yeah, and definitely. And the burst of pace he also showed to receive Hakan's pass and then beat, I think it
Yeah.
was Thorsby and Adrian Silva, two
Hmm.
assists, Lautaro was good too. Then we come to Marcelo Brozovic. I'll come to Brozovic. See, I think Daversa got his plan to mark Brozovic out of the game spot on. As I said, every Sampdoria being compact, putting in the shift, Kandreva drifting in. They just got the better of Brozovic overall, forced him into an early booking. And if you force Brozovic into an early booking, in my opinion, you take one of the best aspects of his game, which is his last ditch tackling and inch
Yeah.
perfect tackling. And then he can't really attempt that because you can always go down easily. And Orsato is Orsato, you can't trust him. Might just show Brozovic the second yellow. So, and then of course Inzaghi had to force up Vidal in at the 51st minute.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think that's why Sampdoria got the better of him. And I think Brozovic I would give a 5. And I don't want to be too harsh on Brozovic, but
Hmm.
after his best asset of the game was taken out, he was just subbed away right immediately. And based on the first 50-51 minutes, I have to give him a 5. He was okay. Couldn't get the ball circulating as quickly as he does. Couldn't
Yeah.
combine that much with Barella. It is what it is. Sampdoria, kudos to them. They took out our best midfielder probably. Yeah.
Yeah.
And for them, speaking of midfielders, I'll come to Mr. Hakan Çalhanoğlu next. What do you think? Like, we speak of inconsistency. Milanisti speak of inconsistency on his part, and yet again off game for him. He should have definitely buried that chance.
Yeah.
What's your rating for him?
I would give him a 5, even though he was instrumental for our second
Hmm.
goal. Like, he was physical.
Hmm.
I would still give him a 5 because his
Hmm.
consistency throughout the game. One
Yeah.
event in the game, I wouldn't change the rating to a higher thing because, again,
Hmm.
after two missed chances, let's say
Hmm.
Perisic, even though
Hmm.
we are harsh on Perisic, not
Hmm.
unjustly. I mean, it's
Yeah.
just to be harsh on Perisic, but with
Hmm.
Çalhanoğlu, it was like he has seen two golden chances go, and now he
Definitely.
has another chance wherein like the defenders are moving away, they're giving him space to aim
Yeah.
and shoot with power. And when you
Yeah.
have that, and this is something which you are known for, if you
Exactly.
if you can't score this, then when would you score? And even the
Yeah.
keeper
Agree.
was stranded. So for
Yeah.
all these reasons, I would give him a 5 because the only reason he is getting a 5 is because he was instrumental
Hmm.
for the second
Uh,
goal.
Second
But
goal.
apart from that, for his personal performance throughout the 90, I wouldn't give him a 5. But overall, just for that thing, I'll give him a 5.
And I agree. And see, he's good on the ball and everything. And today he did show that one moment of being good off the ball as well
Hmm.
as you just mentioned. But it's the overall thing. You can't be patchy throughout the 90. Like you need to
Yeah,
offer more. And the work rate is there. It's just that when you have these bare chances against a tough team like Sam, you have to take it. There is no two ways about it. And especially we just mentioned earlier before the ratings that that's his trademark shot. You can't be missing. You can't be dragging it so much.
yeah,
Literally no one closing down. No Colley, no Thorsby, Silva, nobody Yoshida to close him down. Just score. That's what he had to do, and we would have probably won this game.
yeah,
So yeah, I agree with the rating, Gotham, right there. Moving on to the strikers, Gotham, I'll rate Dzeko. I feel, Gotham, Dzeko was pretty decent. Like I think I would rather give Sampdoria, which is Yoshida and Kohli, the credit to mark him out more often
hmm.
than not, than Dzeko being bad. Because I know the first goal was a deflection of Dzeko. Maybe he could have kept his legs more together, maybe.
Hmm.
But then, these things are bound to happen against in scrappy situations. Can't really blame him. He tried his best to clear.
Yeah,
Can't really blame him for that. And I feel his movements today were really important, dropping deep, connecting with Lautaro, the midfielders, because had he not done that, we would have been way more off in attack than we were actually.
Yeah.
And, that intelligent movement for the second goal, where he, was running past Colley, and then that arm gesture to trick Yoshida into marking him is what left Lautaro open for Barela's speech of a cross. So in that sense, I think Dzeko was instrumental. I even feel that maybe a goal would have done him good. Like he probably deserved one. But I think I would give him a 6.5 because his movement did make a lot of difference for me. Like, he does link up very well. And
Yeah.
it's very key, his stature, his hold-up play was also sort of instrumental today. The height always comes handy. So kudos to him. I think he was pretty decent. So 6.5 for me, Gotham. Now I come to Lautaro Martinez, Gotham. Lautaro, fantastic finish. As we just
Yeah.
discussed last season, he would have probably missed that. Work rate is always there. Uh, I personally don't really fault him for much today. I don't think he didn't do anything like off the mark. But what
Yeah.
do you think? How
Yeah.
do you think Lautaro fared, and what's your rating for him?
Yeah, I would give him a 7.5 because the aspect which
Hmm.
many people tend to overlook is his work rate
Hmm.
and his
Hmm.
work off the ball. Today, he was
Hmm.
physical. He was physical. He
Yeah,
was up
definitely.
with their defenders, up with their midfielders. He's not giving them
Agree.
space. He's pressing. And plus the goal
Agree.
off his weaker foot. That was a
Yeah,
brilliant goal. Like you said,
brilliant
last
goal.
season, he would have missed it.
He
This
would have
season,
definitely.
he has a lot of confidence this season. So
Yeah.
for his performance, for his off the ball work rate, I would
Hmm.
give him a 7.5. And for me personally, the man of the match.
Man of the match. And also the thing is, what I feel is like what I just remembered is last season versus Shakhtar, he had a similar chance on the volley to away it was, and I think he had fluffed it. Like, of course, it was an open goal that time. He completely fluffed it. And to maintain that composure, to come from an international break where he was drained, he did play versus Bolivia. In the final game on Friday. His pressing, of course, when he's fully fit, he's top notch. Today, you could see the exhaustion, and I can't
Yeah.
fault him for that. That's just a poorly managed international break. Players come back on us Friday, with jet lag. As I said, Inzaghi said he was awake till like 4 a.m. because of the time difference. And then Saturday, he has to train and then show up for a tough game on Sunday with the travel. This is not easy. So top drawer, top drawer in that sense, if you put things into
And
context. So, well,
you have Madrid next. So you have that thing on back of your mind as well.
yeah, definitely, definitely. He has to stay fit for Madrid and and whatnot. And I think I agree with that rating, and with that he becomes my man of the match too. I would love to give it to Di Marco as well for the free kick, but I think Lautaro, when I put things into context, did a fantastic job. And I don't want to take anything away from Di Marco. He's right up there for me, but it is Lautaro just edges it for me a bit. Some
Yeah.
might find it a bit disagreeable, but just leave it in the comments below. Let us know your thoughts, and I'll come to the subs now. Gautam, the first substitution we made was Mr. Arturo Vidal. I'll come to Arturo. So I think he was pretty decent. Like he couldn't have the impact he did versus Genoa or Hellas, but I think he did cover up for Brozovic's absence in that sense. He could get in the fouls. He could act more physical, and
Yeah.
I think that's where we needed a physical presence to match up with Adrian Silva and not Ogello, Thorsby, Morten Thorsby. He did a fantastic job, and in the end, where Sampdoria were breaking away, he took one for the team, the yellow card.
Yeah.
That was much needed. He had to do it. There was no two ways about it. We were playing with 10 men, since he was unfortunately injured. We will come to that. So I think I would give 5.5 for Arturo for his cameo because the bare minimum he did in those few minutes and good display from him, and that's what I like to see. He is fighting for everything. He's not giving up. He's not lethargic like last season. He is working
Yeah.
his socks off. So kudos to him. I come to Danilo D'Ambrosio because I'm going by
Our
the order of the substitutes. Yeah, I'm going by the order of the substitutes. Our savior. I know that's what you were going to
savior.
say,
Yeah.
Gautam.
Savior
Yeah,
again.
just go ahead, give him the rating and describe his performance, Gautam. Yeah.
I would give him 6 for
Hmm.
his goal line clearance. He always
Hmm.
tends to be in the right place at the right
Hmm.
time to save us.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
unfortunately, couldn't get a goal today, which he usually does. But he
Yeah,
was there. He was giving it to the Sampdoria players. He wasn't shying away with anything.
I agree.
And no one expected the ball to go to the goal when he was there. And
Yeah,
for some weird reason, he's there and he clears
yeah,
it off
he's
the
there.
line.
I think it's like he's meant to be doing that kind of thing, somehow. But only thing, Gautam, I would just point out is that there was this one occasion where I feel that you could see he was struggling to keep with the pace of the game,
Hmm.
because of course he came in late. Like he was just beaten by Damsgaard, I think, immediately 1v1. Like he was just beaten, and then I thought Sampdoria would score from that. But again,
Uh,
he was just subbed in, so I'm not going to really fault him for that. It's not hard to get into the thick of things.
yeah,
And we all know Damrosi is a decent player at best. He's not like a top class player like that's going to get into the thick of things and make last ditch tackles. I mean, of course, contrary to that, he did clear off the line, but you know what I mean. So I agree with that, Gautam. Like I think 6 is fair enough, because that goal line clearance, if not made, we would have lost the match. And a point
yeah,
is always better than no points. So kudos to
correct.
D'Ambrosio for getting us a point. So
Yeah.
next, again, as per the order of the subs, Joaquin Correa came in for Lautaro Martinez. Gautam, he added a lot much more explosiveness and spark needed in the
Hmm.
match. Like those direct runs, he could have even scored. He took on those the three Sampdoria players at once. It was Berezinski, it was Colley, it was Yoshida. Man, that
Yeah.
run was fantastic. And I think Yoshida blocked it at the last minute. That's why Ordero could save it. Some may argue that, Correa could have passed it to Vidal, but I think Correa had to take it on. Like,
Yeah, he
when you're
had to
cutting
take the
past three players,
chance.
yeah. If you're cutting past three players, you definitely have the confidence and
Yeah.
right to shoot like from there. So well done to him. I think he could have come on a bit too sooner too. I feel like much more sooner. I
Yeah,
feel at times. That's just
and
yeah.
yeah, and
Sorry.
I also feel that he should have come on for Dzeko and not for Lautaro. I think
Yeah,
Lautaro
probably.
and
Yeah.
yeah, I
Yeah.
think they would have combined better and we would have had more versatility up front if both of them
Probably,
played.
yeah. But I think what Simone was thinking, that Lautaro was definitely exhausted by that point. Like,
Hmm.
he was definitely exhausted at that case. So maybe why not? Probably, we could have shifted to a 3-4-1-2 and subbed off a midfielder for Korea. Who know? You never know, right? You have to take
Yeah,
that risk at such a game. And maybe Sensi's injury would have been avoided but those are things you can't really see. You can't predict an injury. But just to give a rating to Korea, I would give him a 6-2, Gotham, because
hmm.
his spark was very much needed. Like, well done to
Yeah,
him, and yeah, we'll need his presence more often than not. And let's see if he starts versus Real or not. We'll have to see that.
correct.
Coming to Mr. Denzel Dumfries next, Gotham, again as per the order of the subs. I think that display was really good. Those runs and that driven cross. I think Korea should have scored from that cross he gave. Like, what do you make of his performance, Gotham? I think he did well. What do you think?
I wouldn't be that positive with his performance. I would say, yeah, he did okay, but
Yeah.
I would have liked to see more. But like you said, it's same case with D'Ambrosio, wherein like he came in
Hmm.
a bit too late. I feel, even though he came in at
Too late.
68th minute, I think he came in
Yeah.
and it was a physical game. And if you're
Hmm.
not there from the start, it will take some time for you to adjust to
Definitely.
how
Definitely.
physical the game is. Like so,
Yeah.
I would give him a 5. I wouldn't give
Hmm.
him more than that, but yeah, like you said, he showed parts of what he can do. But sometimes in these matches, you have to get into the groove very quickly. You have to know,
Yeah.
okay, this is going to be a physical, they're going to attack me. You won't have that much time on the ball. You need to be that quick. You should have those quick feet
Hmm.
that time.
Yeah, but in that case, because Dumfries hasn't really played much with the group, that is something, Gautam, I would personally expect from D'Ambrosio, because
Hmm.
he's been there, done that, been there for years, played with this team last season. But yeah, I get it. Like, 5.5 for me is a fair rating, because I agree that he should have come on a bit too sooner, because you could see those direct runs he was making, and he started giving everyone a hard time for, in terms of making direct runs. That one run he made and the driven pass for Korea should have buried that as
Yeah.
well. Like, definitely, he skied it. Like, I don't know how, because Dumfries looked confident. He made he was looking imposing. He showed that I'm not going to basically lose a
Yeah.
1v1 duel in these in these tense circumstances. He maintained that, and for that he definitely deserves credit in such a tough game. So 5.5 in context is fair enough, and I think this guy's left up to me. Like, I want to rate Sensi. Like, of course, I wanted to talk about him. Man, I feel bad for him. Like, I don't know what to say anymore, Gautam. Like, for me, for the bare minimum he came on, he looked positive in terms of ball circulation, receiving the ball. But it's like, and to his credit, Gautam, he actually tried to put in a cross when he got injured. Like, he went for
Yeah.
the ball. It's not that he slacked off. So if he had slacked off, we would have blamed him. Why aren't you making these efforts in the last minutes of the game? But
No, but the thing is again, like for these things, if
hmm,
you're injured for these things, like what he got
yeah,
injured for this game,
yeah, yeah.
what would you
I
do?
get it. I get it.
if you're
Yeah,
playing against a much more physical team.
yeah, and I get it. I get that. Like, he tried. He had minimal spark, not sparks, I would say, but he tried to keep the tempo
Hmm.
flowing. Like, I think if brought on way sooner, he could have added much more than Hakan. Like, if brought on way sooner, 20
Hmm.
minutes before, even I personally feel, like, because Sensi's technical ability can unlock a lot of gaps in
Yeah.
could have unlocked a lot of gaps in Sampdoria's defense. But yeah, I mean, it's frustrating and it's sad at the same time. And I personally, again, I don't blame any player for their injuries, but that's his condition. He gets injured, and I don't know how smart it was to continue to play, because we all saw that Barella and the rest of the squad was telling him to go off. He had no substitutes left, but he wanted to continue playing, and I respect him for that, because we could have probably lost the match if we were down to 10 men way before than that. I respect him for having that like just being there, because at times players do fear that one presence, just to even if they are on
Yeah.
the pitch. So respect to him for that. But was that wise? I don't know. He left. We went again in tears, and Inzaghi confirmed Gotham that he's. I mean, it's not a surprise that he's definitely not going to be there for the Real Madrid match. And it's heartbreaking, because you need all the players you can get when you play a team
Hmm.
like Real Madrid. You need everyone, especially the quality of Sensi. I don't know if I should rate Sensi, Gotham. Maybe I'll give him like a standard. I'll give him like a 4 or a 3, because it like I don't know what to say about him. Like,
But the
it's
thing
not
again
easy.
is like the thing
Yeah,
also
yeah,
again, even though he was here last season with us,
yeah,
I think
yeah,
I think players have played more with Hakan now than Sensi. Even though Hakan has
yeah.
just come in, they have I think they have gelled more with Hakan than Sensi on the pitch because Sensi is always injured.
Yeah, it's a sad one, Gautam. Like, guys, like, it's hard to see, because the guy, well, we always everybody knows this. When he's fit, when he's on the top of his game, he's a sublime player to watch,
Yeah.
and he could have very well made a difference today. He did show one or two moments, and as I said, personally for me, he should have come on 20 minutes way before, and I think he would have done well, and he could have probably scored. It is what it is, guys. He was injured, and I give him a 3 or a 4. Like, I don't know what else. I don't even know if I should rate him, honestly. Like,
Hmm.
just barely anything. Like, I
Yeah.
might probably change it to I don't even give him a rating. Like, and that's not a bad thing. It's just such a confusing thing, Gotham. Like, do we give him a rating? Do we give him a rate? Not give him a rating? And Gotham, let's go ahead and let's rate the coach. Let's rate the let's even rate Orsato, and let's even rate the team performance. So I'll come to Simone Inzaghi. How much do you rate him on 10?
I would rate him 6. No, I would give him a 7. Mainly because
Wow.
he did
Okay.
the chances that were missed were on the players. It's not on the
Yeah.
coach.
Yeah.
He got the guys in and they couldn't finish it. So what else he is he
Hmm.
supposed to do? Motivate? Yeah, there was
Yeah.
motivation. There was a but if you
Yeah.
scruff easy chances,
Yeah.
the players' heads never went down even after missing. They were still
Yeah.
fighting for
Yeah.
the 90 minutes.
Yeah.
But the
Yeah.
thing is like in these matches, if you don't take your chances, it's
Yeah.
gone. So I
Hmm.
would give him a 7 because he did his subs and he got in
Hmm.
Sensi, and then once Sensi got injured, what else would you do again? You're out of subs. So you have to play
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
10
I
men.
agree.
So I would give him
Yeah, I
a
agree.
7.
7. I think for me, I would take 0.5 away. I'll tell you why. And I don't blame this performance of Simone Inzaghi. Don't get me wrong. I don't blame him for the chances missed, because when a player misses, when players miss their chances, you can't blame the coach for that. I would rather credit Inzaghi, as you said, for keeping the morale high up, even after missing those many chances. But I also do feel that he should have made a certain substitutions way before. As I said, for
Hmm.
me, Dumfries and Sensi should have come on way before even Korea. I know Korea did come on time, sort of, but still have to come on at time. And also, Gautam, this is a match. This is a match. This
Yeah.
is a match where our midfield was heavily marked, like Brozovic, Barella, Brozovic given a hard time early book. So I feel there needs to be a plan B for that, because that happened versus Hellas too. And again, these are early days, but he needs to find a plan B. I feel in that case, like,
Hmm.
these are days where you find these alternative plans and you start fixing things. So this needs to be sorted out, Gotham. So that's
But
just my opinion. I mean, yeah, sorry.
yeah, but I think I mean, do you feel that he was handicapped because of the international break and because of the timing?
Yeah, yeah. Oh, definitely. That plays a role. But then again, what I feel, Gotham, is that when you're playing a physical team like Sam, you can. I know Gagliardini is not the best of players out there, but you have to win these 1v1 duels, and
Yeah.
Gagliardini can do it, because of how he postures himself on the pitch, and he has a. again, I'm going to stick to this. He has a fantastic record of scoring versus Sampdoria. Just use him, man. He was fit to play.
Yeah,
He's been training all week. Just play your cards. Even if you feel it's luck, just go ahead and use it. Spalletti used to rely on luck. He used to literally
yeah.
pray on the sidelines and whatnot. So why not? So that's where I probably take 0.5 away. But Gotham, I'll just quickly rate Daniele Orsato because he's finally refereed an intermatch after over 1,200 days after all the debacle he caused at UA Inter UA, of course, those many years ago. And I think it was a very substandard game for him because he gave away so many needless. He stopped the game on so many needless occasions, like so many unnecessary stops for fouls for both teams. I'm not going to say it was always against us. For both teams, it's like he wanted to be the center of attention. But I would also give him credit that he did make a certain correct calls, like where people felt that we should have got a penalty on I think Horsby's handball. It was when it bounced off the ground. That was never a penalty.
Yeah.
Those calls were correct, but it's like he always wanted to attract attention, or he wanted to show that I am the boss of the game or something for some reason, but he couldn't for all the wrong reasons. I have to give him a 3, man. Like he was pathetic officiating in my opinion for both teams, not only for Inter. Keeping the not because I'm an Inter fan, just pathetic officiating in my opinion.
But I think by now we should come to expect it out of him. Like
expect that exactly, but we
yeah,
have to give a rating, right? Like he's Orsato. I mean, he's a biased ref. You know what he is. If you're banned or banned from officiating Inter for 1,200 plus days, you know how bad you are.
yeah.
So yeah. Lastly, Gotham team performance. What do you rate this? What do you rate this? As you said, you felt this could have been 3 points for sure.
Yes.
So what do you rate the team performance?
I would give it a 5 out of 10, mainly because this was 2 points lost. It wasn't 1 point gain.
Yeah.
And we need to be clinical and we need to get points. We need to build points. Even last season, we lost to Sampdoria, but you knew even then, like, okay, even if we lose, we are going to win the title. That comfort level was there, kind of was there. And this season, somehow it feels like you cannot afford to drop points. So
yeah, I agree.
This was basically 2 points drop. So I would give it a 5 out of 10.
And I agree with the rating. Although I would like to add more comments to it. Like I agree. I do feel it's 2 points dropped as well. Because of the chances we had, like Hakan should be scoring and all we have discussed. At the same time, as I said, I do put things into context. Other factors affected our players. They were exhausted and everything. But yes, I agree. The team performance could have been better. Midfield marked out. Brozovic, Barella marked out. They couldn't really connect quickly. That 1-2 passing was missing. Everything was off the pace. I also feel defense is a big worry going into the season. And yes, this is the problem we had at the start of last season too. But we definitely need to iron this out. Conte always stressed on having the right balance, and Inzaghi has to do that going forward. We can't have this defending versus Real Madrid. Yeah. They will rip us apart. Like they will. Benzema is the best at one of the best, or probably the best at exploiting these small gaps. He will destroy our defense like this. Yeah. Like he won't spare us. And I mean, it definitely has to be better. And yes, last season we lost to Sampdoria, as I said, even in our title-winning season. And in that case, it's also a point taken then lost. But as I said, like if you miss so many chances, I don't know. I have to agree with Gotham's rating here. It has to be a 5. And I mean, we move like it's a point. It's 2 points drop, and we can only hope the rest of the teams fighting for the Scudetto drop points as well later on. But yeah, there's a long way to go, Gotham. A long season ahead. We need to iron these errors out. Overall, it's okay. Early kickoff, everything okay. Performance not the best. A lot to work on, Gotham. Anything you would like to say before we close the episode?
I just want to say that we need to be more clinical in front of goal. I've been saying the same thing over the years now, but this season we have to be, because we are the defending champions. We can't just
champions.
We can't whimper away the title, and we cannot whimper away the title defense this year.
And it's a much more competitive season, guys. Like we all know, Napoli beat Juventus yesterday. They are at the top with 9 out of 9 points. Nobody expects Spalletti per se to challenge for the title, but with the squad he has, he very well may. His objective primarily probably is to get them back into UCL, but he's not going to shy away from a title contention once they realize they are there. Mourinho might go on and say that our objective is to be sustainable at Roma or just to achieve top four. But as Massimo Moratti said the other day, he's just bluffing. He's here to go for the title, and he will.
Yeah.
He can definitely do that. He will definitely push for it. AC Milan, we don't underestimate them. They are adding more depth to the squad. Their away record, go back and look at it. It's fantastic. They're unbeaten for ages now away from home. They beat Sampdoria in game week 2. They'll play Lazio tonight. We'll see Lazio. I mentioned Lazio got a fantastic display so far. Dangerous. Immobile might not play tonight, but even without him, Sarri has already got them going. You never know. These teams can catch up to you. Juventus, yes, they've been worse off than us, but you never count them out. You can never count Juventus out. Like, this is one thing. I know other teams have improved, but you never count one of the best teams in Italy out. Atalanta, yes, drop points, but again, Atalanta also starts slow every year almost. So again, we can't. This is the time we could have probably capitalized with 2 more points on Atalanta's loss. We could have capitalized again. Same for UA as well, right? We could have been on par with Napoli. So as I said, Gotham, time to iron things out. It's all right, but definitely we can't drop points versus Bologna next weekend at home. But before Bologna, guys, the Champions League returns. 2 consecutive home games now. First, we play Real Madrid. It's back for finally with fans. We'll be playing Real Madrid. Just to point out, it's going to be all Inter fans. There's going to be no Real Madrid fans. The extra 2K tickets were given to Inter, so there's expected to be around 30,000 plus Inter fans, which is a good attendance considering the situation. So guys, UCL next, then Bologna at home. But yeah, we will be doing a preview for the Champions League for the Real Madrid game, for the Real Madrid match. So do stay tuned in. We'll be doing it shortly in a day or two. So yeah, do stay tuned into our channel. And sort of disappointed, as me and Gautam pointed out, but we keep moving. This happened last season too. We did lose to Sampdoria, so there's 35 games to go, guys. So let's stay positive and sempre Forza Inter.
Forza Inter.